In today's video, we'll be going over the must-have steel ships to get in 2026. So, me and SAT Score are going to be going over all the steel ships in the armory, since we did just see that the steel coupon, which gives you 25% off the steel ships, is going to be available in a few days. So, we're going to be going over all the steel ships. Alright, to start off, the first ship on the list is going to be the Pioneer. Do we recommend it? Yes. The reason why is it's a very versatile HE farmer tier 10 cruiser. You get 12-kilometer radar with an 8-kilometer the submarine surveillance. It does have a pause at the start where you're not able to use them right away, but it also has a short burst, not a short burst, it has a crawling smoke as well that allows you to smoke farm or push into cap areas along with your destroyers to be able to push them out of the area. It also has most of its guns in the front, so you're able to slowly crawl forward as you're just shooting the guns at the enemy, as well as it does have more like closer range torpedoes, so if someone does try to rush you, you can just nuke them with those torpedoes. What are your thoughts, SAT?
She's kind of a support light cruiser, except you're not allowed to support at the start due to that forced cooldown on the radar. But she has the rare combination of smoke and radar. You can use that to your advantage, slowly crawling forward, keeping destroyers out of the caps while you go farm the bigger ships. Just keep in mind there is a big cooldown because you cannot, the cooldown does not start until the last puff. So she has long periods of downtime where she's vulnerable. But otherwise, she is a pretty strong ship if used correctly.
All right, moving on to the Amiral Lartigue. No, we don't recommend this one. And the reason why is that the ship itself isn't very good, while the aircraft is also not as good as well. It does have fighters, but overall, the Hildebrand is just superior. So we don't recommend this one. What are your thoughts?
Yep, Hildebrand just essentially invalidates Admiral Lartigue. There's really just no point to playing her when you can just get Hildebrand.
Yep, so moving on from that one is the FDR. So we're not going to recommend the FDR. The reason why is that the other steel ship that's better on this list is going to be the Shinano. And the FDR in this meta is just not really good. It has the long delay in the attacks, as well as the planes are very slow, which makes it not super versatile in what's able to do. So no on the recommendation of the FDR. What are your thoughts?
Too slow, too clunky. It was okay when it first released, but it got quickly outclassed because speed is life, and FDR has none of that.
Yep. So Shikishima, don't recommend. Reason why is that it does have the 6 guns and it has very similar dispersion to the Yamato, but the same thing is that Yamato, you just play the Yamato for free with the legendary mod. It's about the same as the Shikishima, but it has 9 guns instead of 6. So I don't think playing a Yamato with 6 guns is really worth 31,000 steel. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, she's essentially just a Yamato rebarreled to 510s. You can also play the Satsuma if you want a super ship, if you want the 510 experience.
True.
There's really no reason for Shikishima to exist other than I love Yamato and I need all the Yamatos.
All right, moving on to the Willem de Eerste. Yes, highly recommend. Great guns, good airstrikes, good maneuverability, good HE, as well as good AP on this ship as well. This is a very fun ship to play, very enjoyable, so I definitely highly recommend the William. What are your thoughts on the William?
She's a bit fragile due to that very exposed citadel, but she is a lot of fun to play. You have very fast shells, you've got an airstrike that absolutely nukes anything. Very good ship, a little bit harder to play than other battleships, but well worth it if you love bombing people.
Yep. Moving on to the Lauria. Do you recommend the Lauria? No. The reason why is you can just play Colombo with the legendary mod. So, yeah. If you have the free Lauria, cool. But for this Lauria, 31,000 steel, no. Just play Colombo with the legendary mod. Your thoughts?
Same thing. Get the Tempest Nura. If you have Tempest Nura, you don't need the Lauria. If you have Colombo, honestly, she's better than Lauria in almost every relevant aspect. So, no point.
Yep. So, moving on from that one is the Mecklenburg. Yes, I definitely recommend the Mecklenburg. Has really good HE, as well as having good AP. has really accurate guns, is meant to be a long distance farmer. You can definitely punish cruisers and battleship broadsides at long distance. If you try to brawl with it, it's not going to do well, but at mid to long distances, this ship really excels. What are your thoughts, SAT?
Sorry, which ship again?
Mecklenburg.
Mecklenburg, it's a accurate German ship. I know, those two normally don't go together. But it is very accurate, can punish people with its AP, and also switch to HE if people actually start angling. Pretty
Mhm.
solid ship all around, you can't really go wrong with it.
Yep. Moving on to the Incomparable. Incomparable, we're going to say that it's meant for higher skill players. So if you're a high skill player, yes. If you're not, no. The reason why we say that is because in the current meta with the aircraft carriers, the hybrids, the submarines, and the high number of destroyers, it really punishes the ship's meta being more of a stealthy glass cannon kind of boom and get out kind of ship. If it's spotted a lot, you're just going to get melted. So you have to be able to know your positioning and be able to keep your concealment, and that's really hard to do in the meta. So we don't really recommend it for lower level players, but for higher level players, then yes, we definitely recommend it. Your thoughts?
It's a very peculiar play style. Very fast, actually outspots a lot of the cruisers. So you can get these funny moments where you just ambush a heavy cruiser and delete it with your guns. At the same time, it's fairly fragile for a battleship. It will take citadels left and right, and if aircraft carrier or even a destroyer is on your flank, your entire gimmick is ruined. So she can be very unfun to play at times, like very, very frustrating. So
Mhm.
high risk, high reward ship, but you definitely need to have a lot of experience to play her correctly.
Yep. Moving on to the Barbiano. Do you recommend the Barbiano? Yes. Reason why is this ship is a lot of fun to play. Very interesting gimmick of just having as many guns on the thing as possible. It gets the exhaust smoke of the Italians while having the amazing DACA machine of using its sap on all of the guns. It's a lot of fun to play. Really fun to farm out cruisers, battleships, and fighting other destroyers. But overall, definitely recommend it for the fun memes you can pull out with it. What are your thoughts?
If you want a destroyer that you can hold down left mouse button the entire game, that's the ship. Does require a little bit of skill to play because she has very high detection and she takes hits left and right, so she actually doesn't tank very well despite her high HP pool.
Mhm.
But no one can deny that the constant red stream of shells is fun.
Yep, true. Moving on from this, talk about the Shinano. Do you recommend the Shinano? Yes. Reason why is essentially a Yamato hull with slightly less armor in the middle and the bow and aft. Also, it makes it one of the heaviest armored carriers in the game. Also has the AP skip bombers, has a tactical bombers that has smoke, as well as hard hitting torpedoes and secondaries as well, and a smoke. So this thing has a lot of tools at its disposal. It makes it one of the higher skill level carriers. Very versatile, what you can do with it and build with it. So we definitely recommend it if you enjoy playing CVs. Your thoughts?
AP bombs hurt. They take some time to get used to, but once you master them, oh god, they hurt. And of course, she gets smoke, she gets very good secondaries. She's got a lot of things going for her. So, and if you want to snipe the other CVs, you got AP skip bombers. You still have to respect it even today.
Hmm.
So, one of the strongest CVs in general. And if you want a carrier, take her, not the FDR.
Hmm. All right, moving on to the Archerfish. Do you recommend it? Yes. If you're a submarine main, we definitely recommend the Archerfish. It's very fast on the surface and at periscope, has good homing torps. It's able to get its submarine surveillance very quickly with its F key gimmick, where if it takes any set percent of potential damage, like from airstrikes or from like enemy shells going by or anything like that, it activates its F key, which makes it have a faster consumable time, cooldown, as well as faster reloading torpedoes. So it makes it a very dangerous submarine to deal with. And well, if you have it, then it's good for you. But fighting other enemy submarines, they'll be dreading seeing you on the enemy team. Your thoughts?
Yep. A submarine that operates more on the surface. Kind of a funny high risk, high reward kind of sub, but it's still a sub at the end. If you don't like submarine gameplay, you're probably not going to like Archerfish.
Mhm.
But if you do, if you're one of those special people, then yeah, you will probably like the Archerfish.
All right. Moving on to the Svea. Do you recommend the Svea? Yes, but more for the comp side of World of Warships. It's a very strong ship, low detectability, good 9 kilometer radar, as well as good guns that are essentially like Ragnar guns, but on a cruiser hull. So very accurate guns, good torpedoes, good short burst smoke. Overall, just a really strong cruiser meant to help control caps and help out your allied destroyers around the cap area to lock it down. So I'd highly recommend it. What are your thoughts, SAT?
Very survivable cruiser, frequently takes overpens, and also has smoke and speed boost to help dodge everything else. She is a very annoying ship if played correctly. The only reason she suffers in randoms is because her firepower is not very good. It's she really does well against destroyers and light cruisers, but tends to suffer quickly if a battleship gets a lucky hit on her,
Hmm.
particularly Colombo. So
Yep.
more for the competitive side.
Hmm. Moving on, the Komissar. So the Komissar, I call it the Kearsarge of the cruisers, essentially for hybrids. This thing's got amazing guns with a really good attack aircraft, but if you don't know how to position with it, it's really painful. But I still recommend the Komissar just because it has really good guns that can dev strike cruisers and still slap battleships. So I highly recommend the Komissar. So what are your thoughts, SAT?
If you love hybrid ships, Komissar is a great option. The only issue is that her hull is fairly squishy for a hybrid, so you have to really be careful to keep her hull out of the fight while you fly your planes. But her guns are also superb as well, so she can even play just a standard cruiser and she still do very well. Very high skill, but high skill floor, but very high skill ceiling if you can play her.
Hmm. Moving on to the Bourgogne. Do we recommend it? Yes and no. We recommend it as not your first, maybe like a few down the line, but the Bourgogne is a very versatile French battleship with engine boost, a reload booster, as well as being long range guns. But the thing is, the dispersion on them can be really trolly compared to other uh, battleships with the same guns, like gun size. So I really it makes it where you will get dispersion that will literally cost you the match sometimes. Like so, it can really misbehave, and when it misbehaves, it's really painful. So me personally, I don't recommend it. I hate the thing because of that. But just you can get it like down the line over time. But what are your thoughts, SAT?
Mm, It's pretty much the battle cruiser concept before wargaming put in more battle cruisers. High speed, pretty solid but definitely trolley guns. You do get reload boosters to somewhat offset it. The thing with her is that she's a jack of all trades. She can do a lot of things for a battleship, but her uniqueness isn't she's not all that unique anymore. You still have Repub around, and more importantly, you have the St. Vincent line, which kind of does a lot of what she does, except her guns are the slower firing but accurate kind, which is less frustrating.
Hmm.
If you like battle cruisers, then yeah, Bourgogne is still a fine choice, but she doesn't really stand out that much anymore, so you may as well just go for St. Vincent.
Yep. All right, moving on to the Austin. Do you recommend the Austin? We're gonna say no. The reason why is that the Hawaii exists. We don't know when the Hawaii is coming back and for what or when, but I don't want to recommend the Austin when the Hawaii can come back anytime for steel or whatever else. Because I would recommend the Hawaii over the Austin 1,000%. The Hawaii is way more versatile in what it's due, and it's not tied to a reload booster like the Austin is. So I'd highly recommend the Hawaii over the Austin. So I'm not going to recommend the Austin because of that. What are your thoughts, SAT?
Very memey ship, but unlike other meme ships, she actually has to pay a price if you mess up. She's one of the squishiest ships in the entire game. And one mistake, or even you may not even make a mistake, you just get bad luck and get death struck because that GK has like godly blessed shells.
Mhm.
So, but when you do activate her reload booster and annihilate a broadside target, it makes it all worth it. It's a very memey ship, but also very hit or miss. So, if you aren't prepared, if you just want a more safer memey ship, just take the Barbiano. And if you want that kind of cruiser gameplay where you constantly shoot the guns, you might as well wait for Hawaii.
Yep. Moving on to the Gato. Do you recommend the Gato? No. Ever since the shotgun nerf hit World of Warships, yeah, no. Gato's not good anymore, and Archerfish is just way superior. So no on the Gato. What are your thoughts, SAT?
Gato's been crying ever since the, to be fair, much needed shotgun changes were introduced.
Yep. So, moving on to Stalingrad, do you recommend it? Yes. The Stalingrad is still a very solid cruiser to this day. You just gotta play it more like a battleship, keeping your distance, mostly using AP because it does have god tier AP shells. One of the best cruiser guns in the game, still to this day. Good radar, overall good survivability as well, as long as you keep your distance. If you get close, though, you're gonna get farmed out really quickly. So, I still recommend the Stalingrad. What are your thoughts, SAT?
It's still a solid ship. People think that she's outdated because she's like 7 years old right now. But no, she still hits quite hard. Her radar is still a useful asset for your allies. And she's still pretty tanky, just not Moskva or Petro tanky.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want something similar to Petra or Moskva, and you actually want to hurt people outside of 12, 13 kilometers, Stalin is a good ship.
Yep. Moving on to the Z42. Do you recommend the Z42? Yes. The reason why is that it has a short burst smoke with a 6 kilometer hydro gimmick. This allows it to push in and out of caps really quickly, being able to push out other destroyers, gunboat them, has really good HE, as well as the AP does a lot of damage to other destroyers because of the gun caliber size. It allows it to pen if they're slightly angled or even more angled, and then you have to switch back to HE. The ship is really strong with that particular gimmick, so I'd really say the Z42 is definitely worth getting. If you like hunting other destroyers, it also has nice torpedoes as well. What are your thoughts, SAT?
If you want a more gunboat version of Z52, 42 is well worth it. Yeah, as you said, it's geared more for killing other destroyers and gunboating whoever survives.
Yep, moving on to the Ragnar. Do you recommend the Ragnar nowadays? Nope. The inherently underpowered meme has come to life. Over time, the Ragnar is just a lot more clumsy nowadays, and there's other ships that does it better, like the Gdansk line. So the Ragnar is now inherently underpowered. So unfortunately, it's not recommended. Your thoughts, SAT?
I still think she's okay, but she definitely feels very painful to play at times. The proliferation of secondary ships means you have to stay pretty far away, or otherwise AI gunners will just kill you for literally no effort. And the lack of, she only has like 3 heals and 3 speed boosts at most, and you are definitely going to feel it if you're trying to hit other destroyers. Or even just do for any long significant amount of damage farming. Like, yeah, she's very good against destroyers, but you have to get close, and you kind of risk your entire hull for that. Just somewhat, it's getting progressively harder to play, and the benefits of it is just not as good as it once was. So, not really recommended unless you really hate other destroyers and want to kill them.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the Plymouth. Do you recommend the Plymouth? We do, but for the higher skill level player. The ship has a 10 kilometer radar with AP only shells. It also has a smoke to be able to farm in, as well as torpedoes. Overall, the ship is essentially like a giant Belfast, but at tier 10. It does well versus destroyers, against cruisers, battleships, you name it, but if you miss position at all, you're essentially death struck. So that's why we say it's a more of a high skill level ship. Your thoughts, SAT?
First of all, it has 9 kilometer radar, not 10.
Yeah, my bad.
Second, it's basically a Minotaur with you give it smoke, you give it radar, but then you nerf it a little bit in both these areas. And yeah, it's more alpha heavy than Minotaur as well. She has an interesting playstyle, definitely geared more for support play rather than damage farming gameplay. If you like Minotaur and you want to play even more supportive Minotaur, then Plymouth is actually not a bad ship. But if you want the big giant damage numbers, yeah, you definitely want a different ship.
Yep, the final ship on this list is going to be the Vallejo. Do you recommend the Vallejo? No. The reason why is it is a tier 9 steel ship. Essentially, it's going to be like the last steel ship you get with how much steel you're going to be earning. So it's really not worth getting at all until you have nothing else to get. The ship itself is good HE. AP is good on broadside or like targets that are closer, but overall, this is a long range HE farmer with an interesting spotter gimmick where it extends the spotters last for not too long, and having a fast reload to be able to rapid launch them over and over again. So overall, it's not worth getting until it's like one of your final picks. What are your thoughts, SAT?
For randoms, there's nothing special about Plymouth. She's just another damage farmer. She just uses a Wooster hull. For PvE, she's actually not a bad choice. She is still a damage farmer, but you really kind of want a damage farmer for PvE. And she doesn't explode instantly, unlike Austin.
Mm-hmm.
So she has some potential there. I don't know if it's a great use of steel, but if you're just wanting a ship for PvE, then she's not the worst pick you can make.
All right. Well, thank you for the suggestions today there, SAT. Do greatly appreciate you. But if you guys have any questions or concerns in the comments down below, just let us know. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.